It was Sony's big PlayStation Experience event on the weekend, and it wasn't that good. Instead of opting for the E3 conference-style presentation, Sony opted for more of a chat show feel for this year. And, despite the fact that it looked, sounded, and was boring, there was actually some gaming news in there.
Sony's opening celebration at this year's PlayStation Experience was pretty low-key. No, really. It consisted mostly of watching people sitting on the many sofas on stage, laughing at how awesome PlayStation exclusives are. That did happen. But behind all that bump, there were some morsels of news and announcements. Original PlayStation classic Medieval has been remastered for the PS4, something teased by the t-shirt worn by Sony executive Shawn Layden. Players can once again take on the role of Sir Daniel Fortesque, cracking bad jokes and just generally being a cartoonish protagonist in a semi-memorable PS1 game. Cool.
It was also revealed that God of War, the upcoming PS4 exclusive by Santa Monica Studios for release in 2018, will be a pretty chunky game. The developers revealed it will actually take 25 to 30 hours to complete. PS4 boss Mark Cerny also revealed that the batshit but breathtaking Death Stranding trailer we saw at the Game Awards last week does actually make sense after playing the game about 5 hours or so. And we also saw some more Detroit Become Human gameplay in the form of some kind of on-stage Let's Play. Sony also revealed Soul Calibur 6 during the weekend alongside 10 minutes of footage for the fighting game sequel. Soul Calibur 6 is of course the latest in Bandai Namco's age-old weapon-based fighter. It's built using Unreal Engine 4, promises a bright visual style, fast combat, and new mechanics, including a system that lets you dramatically parry and counter-attack your opponents. That's due out on the PlayStation 4, PC, and Xbox One next year.
So what was notable about what we've just ran through there is God of War. They say that there's 25 to 30 hours of gameplay now. Now whether that's core, like main story that's going to take you 25 hours to complete, or whether that's just all the additional side quests and everything on top of that is yet to be seen. I'm thinking it's probably that all the content of the game is going to take you 30 hours, but if you run through it, you can do it in a short amount of time if you just stick to the main story arc. So I'm guessing 15, 20 hours for the main story, something like that.
It's probably just a higher figure than anyone was expected to hear about the game.
Yeah.
I think it's, generally you probably expected something a bit shorter than that for a God of War game. I also like the fact that they're remastering Medieval. Sony have got so many old exclusives. They've got a huge catalogue that they're just sitting on. The fact that Medieval gets picked out is pretty cool. I played it as a kid and I did like it. So I think this is pretty cool, I suppose. But it just makes you wonder what goes through their mind when they've got that many games that they're just sitting on. Why is it Medieval? I'm not complaining. I just want to know why Medieval.
And in a pretty big push for VR, Sony also showcased a lot of PSVR stuff as well. Firewall Zero Hour is a new VR tactical shooter, kind of in the vein of Rainbow Six Siege, set for release sometime in 2018. They also showcased a new pretty stunning VR mode for Wipeout Amiga Collection, which puts you inside the cockpit of the hovering space racecraft. Interestingly, Layden joked players will need to supply their own sickness bags. It's pitched as a mod which is due out in early 2018.
I love that he's making light of the fact that his game makes people sick. You're going to need your own sickness bags. Yeah, that sounds fun.
We also saw a new demo for Blood and Truth, the London Heist VR game, which showed off how movement works in the game using a series of fixed points. It also showed interactivity with the world with PlayStation Move controllers, like controlling security cameras, picking locks, and reloading manually and so on. And in maybe the weirdest VR reveal of the night, The Last Guardian. That nice game about leading a giant bird, cat, dog thing through some ruins. Well, that is going to get its own PSVR thing in the form of a free demo, which goes live on December the 12th.
Naughty Dog also held a panel discussion in which they revealed some slightly spoilery stuff about The Last of Us Part 2. When asked if Joel is dead or alive, writer and director Neil Druckmann mysteriously answered, "Everybody dies at some point." He said no character is safe and that the stakes are real. Quote, "We want people to go into The Last of Us Part 2, especially with this theme of hate, and what we're trying to say with this game is knowing that no one is safe, not even these two," meaning Joel and Ellie. Writer Hayley Gross off of Westworld said she's enjoyed the process of working on, quotes, the best game ever in The Last of Us Part 2. And we also got some nice details about the game, like the fact that one of the characters in the game might be pregnant, and that a large part of it takes place in Seattle. The panel also revealed that the game is 50 to 60% finished, and reassuringly for fans, Druckmann said, quote, "We will forever continue to make single-player, linear, narrative-based games." More details are on the way for E3 2018.
Everybody dies sometimes, so that's a Rupert Murdoch. happy. He doesn't seem to die.
Yeah, he's pretty old. He's got like a Mr. Burns thing going on, I suppose.
Mickey Mouse has been around for a while as well. I mean, Super Mario, he's not going to die anytime soon. I mean, there's so many people in games as well. Like, you know, like I said, Mario. You don't have to kill Joel. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, because you know, just look at other people don't die. Keep him alive. Don't kill Joel. Neil.
I reckon kill everyone. Kill everyone. Just have it be the most miserable ending you've ever had. People will remember it then. People are like, whoa, that was a work of art. That's what you need to do. Do what Game of Thrones did. Kill everybody's favourite characters. You get awards.
I was going to say something insightful, but we're all. You know.
Hey, you saying that wasn't insightful? I mean, if you want, you know.
I'm overwhelmed by melancholy now, mate. It's too late. Infamous developers Sucker Punch also held a panel for their game Ghosts of Tsushima, which Sony revealed during Paris Games Week back in October. Ghosts of Tsushima is an open-world action game set in feudal Japan as the Mongol Empire invades the island of Tsushima. It was revealed the setting will be a jumping-off point for its own original story, but much about the game remains a mystery. Also, Little Big Planet creators Media Molecule caused a stir with a detailed re-reveal of their new game Dreams. Dreams will tell 3 interwoven stories and will feature a huge mix of genres. It's as much a creation tool as a game, with playable levels, animated films, music making tools and social network features. It's also going to feature PSVR support and co-op local multiplayer, and it comes out in 2018.
And finally, weirdly, disappointingly, maybe the biggest reveal of the weekend was that you'll be able to change your PSN ID sometime in the future, possibly. Sean Layden was asked by fanful Greg Miller whether or not PlayStation users will be able to change their PSN IDs at some point in the near future. Layden responded, quote, "Let me put it this way, I hope we'll see events occur so that you don't have to ask me that question next PSX." There you go, that was literally the biggest thing that came out of PlayStation Experience, the fact that users will finally, after over a decade I guess, be able to change their IDs online, which is good if you've got a shit name. It was a different kind of PlayStation Experience to last year, that's one way of putting it, because there wasn't any big announcements, like literally Medieval. That's what I saw most people talking about anyway.
There was a lot of PSVR stuff, and there's a big push for PSVR now, and then, I mean, this is obviously on the back of the news that they have sold 2 million units of PSVR. Sean Layden even commented on stage that he imagines it as some sort of like re-releasing of the platform, because it did have a slow start. They weren't able to produce as many units as they would have liked to, so people weren't able to buy them as quickly as they wanted to at the release. But now there's 2 million people is the install base. A lot more developers now are jumping onto it and releasing games. So there was so many PSVR games that were announced during PSX this year that if you're not interested in PSVR, it wasn't really that exciting for you. But if you are a PSVR fan or you've got one, then there was quite a few to get stuck into. The whole thing was just a promotion exercise for the PSVR, because like I said, there is a lot of things happening.
Yeah, also like DFS, because there was a lot of sofas on stage. Good
DFS, yeah.
Whoever supplied them sofas, I mean, they looked alright.
Yeah, they did need some sort of sponsorship with DFS.
Yeah,
they should get on that. Sean Layden should be like tapping them up for next year, that's for sure. I think for me the most notable thing was when Neil Druckmann came out and confirmed the fan theory that Last of Us Part 2 was taking place in Seattle. I mean, duh. When that itself is the most notable thing at the whole of PSX, then you know you've had a pretty bland year, let's be honest.
Okay, so that's most of the slightly interesting things that happened at PSX this year. What did you see that caught your eye? Let us know down in the comments. Remember to like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this every day. You can check out that video right there, right now if you want, and the link to Patreon if you want to support the channel. See you next time.